So I finally found a position I'm comfortable in, and I'm not moving. And I'm leaving the glasses off. Recently, I've been thinking of maybe needing to keep chips out of the house, not to eat them isn't normal. And I have noticed it's certain ones. Like, there are some that are just really tasty, like the cracker chips from Ritz. Like, those are actually tasty. And they get eaten in multiple settings. Also really good for settling the stomach. They don't give me indigestion. You know, they're kind of almost a cure for it. Since I have an absolute myriad of stomach issues that are unsolved mysteries to doctors, but most of which I can pay attention to my body and be like, yeah, I shouldn't eat this or that, or most things really. It's the really, even the homemade ones, like, it's not a problem. But whenever we get chips from the store, particularly the Walmart brand ones, they don't even taste that good. And they kind of numb your taste buds a bit. Almost like there's like, I don't know, I think it's more engineering than flavor. So for whatever reason, something in those though, just whatever they do to them to try and make you eat more of them. Like, I know they do something to make you salivate despite the fact that it doesn't actually have the same amount of actual flavor as other stuff does, but like, whatever it is, I'm just really susceptible to it. So, and because they are the cheap chips, if we buy chips, that's what we buy. So I ended up doing like a whole experiment. Let me just say, eating chips for breakfast is not a good idea. But, if they're in the house, considering how difficult it is for me to move around, I will go for what's easy. And I don't necessarily think that itself is the problem. Because everything is hard. And when everything is hard, you go for that. I still have issues though where I kind of feel like I'm lazy for going for what's easy. But I am a practical person, and I am very practiced at this point with looking at that and saying that is bullshit that was put in my head by people that did not care about my well-being, despite the fact that they were supposed to when I was a child. After my mom died, I have to clarify because my grandmother used to blame my mom for anything that was questioned, like flinching whenever a teacher raised her voice at me like she was going to hit me, because I had learned to expect it. That was blaming my mom, but that teacher had me. She'd had me long enough, and she'd seen me whenever I was with my mom, so that actually didn't work. Because she had had me since first grade. there was some interruption while I was in the system, but while there was abuse in that, it was more neglect than abuse. I guess neglect is abuse, but I'm saying, like, there was more not getting what I needed, and then there was, like, beating me every time I did something. There was beatings. It wasn't, like, a continuous thing. And the flinching came later, whenever it was happening regularly. I don't know, maybe somebody else would have flinched sooner. I think I was just processing too much. Anyway, that completely got derailed. Anyway, that's why I have to specify that, like, I understand where that came from, but also it didn't come from my mom, because my mom was nothing like that. My mom was actually pretty amazing. She did make mistakes. But unlike her parents, my mom was very face your mistakes and do better. I do my best to also do that. He is angry that he is not the center of attention. Maggie is in the spot that he wants to be in. Hello, Maggie. You are such a kid and wonderful cat. Gorgeous is in the other spot he wants to be in. Just come here. Brat. You wanted attention. Okay, now you want to play. I tried playing with toys earlier with you. You just didn't want them. He is an old grumpy cat. Anyway, I did the experiment with the chips. And that... it led to a lot of things. Like, I actually noticed the Walmart chips, I feel like, really bad. Like, indigestion, heartburn, the works. And then, but, it's also like, can't stop eating them, almost like a compulsion. But I don't have a compulsion to just eat chips. I mean, I went through and I investigated with other chips. There are, of course, different brands of things that there's more of a thing with. But the ones that have, like, more actual seasoning than engineered flavoring, are usually also the ones that cost more. And those are the ones that, like, there's not a compulsion. Like, I love Doritos. Especially Cool Ranch Doritos. But the Walmart brand is, like, not that. But they go so much more quickly because there's, like, this... And I'm not the only one that eats more of them whenever we have them. It's just... I think I'm just extra sensitive to whatever they do it. And I'm like, I'm already overweight. I don't want to, like, add to that. Chips are expensive. It takes a while to make them yourself, too. And I can never season them quite like that. I don't really have that down, but also it doesn't really take much to make homemade chips. Kind of like, especially tortilla chips. Taste kind of good. Even corn tortilla chips. Like, you can make chips out of so many things. I also make crackers. And for me, that thick chip is actually kind of what ends up helping my stomach. Kind of like a cracker. It doesn't need to be heavily seasoned. or even seasoned at all, to just be helpful. But I don't sit there and like have this compulsion. The homemade chips I maybe like eat like 5, 4, 3, sometimes just 1 or 2 at a time. But the ones from the store,